In this video, we'll look at using a sample file when connecting to a folder of data. Let's once more go into Expenses in 05, connecting to a folder of data, and let's open one of the files in the folder. To create a sample file, we simply need to specify the columns which we want to include in the output. And let's say it's going to be these 5 columns. So I'll just copy them and then place them in the order in which I want them to occur in the output file. And let's say we want name followed by date. So I'll just hold down the Shift key and drag date to the left. And then let's say we want amount to be next. So just Shift drag, and that has them in the correct order. So we'll now copy this into a text file, and I can create one inside the expenses folder simply by right-clicking and choosing New Text Document. Select all, Control A, and we'll type the new name sample.csv. Yes, we are sure that we want to change the file extension. And now I'll right-click on the file and open it with Notepad. And here we'll just paste in those 5 headers and replace the tabs with commas. So we have no data, we simply have 5 column headings. Let's close and save, and that completes our sample file. So we'll close down the CSV that we opened in Excel, and of course we won't save our changes. Now let's go back into the main folder and open up the PBIX file. And now let's connect to the folder. So get data, more, and we can just double click on folder. And as we did before, let's go inside the expenses folder and then copy the path. And from here, we choose Combine and Transform Data. And now we have the chance to specify our sample file. So we'll just scroll down to find it, sample.csv. One of the problems with using a completely blank sample file is that Power Query doesn't have enough data to recognize the column types and to promote the first row as column headers. But it's a very easy problem to fix. So let's click OK. And as sometimes happens, the Power Query window hasn't come to the front. So we simply click on the taskbar and switch across to Power Query. And we can see that we have a slight problem. Because the first row wasn't recognized as headers, that first row repeats within the body of data. To fix it, we need to go into one of the helper queries that Power Query has automatically created. And that's the transform sample file. Basically, any transformation performed within this query will also be performed on every file in the folder. So all we need to do is to click on Use First Row as Headers. Power Query now knows that that first row is not data, it's the headers, and that there is no data in the table. And that now filters through to the output. And although we have an error, that error only occurs on the very last step, the change type, because basically we're attempting to change the type of columns that no longer exist. So we simply need to delete that step and then change the column types ourselves. So we have 3 text columns, name, branch, that's control click of course, and category. And to change all 3, we can hold down the control key and click on the data type indicator on the left of the column. If you don't hold the control key down when you do this, then your selection will revert to a single column. So these are our 3 text columns, And then we've got fixed decimal number, since that's a monetary value, and finally date. In addition to the 5 columns which we specified, we also have a column called source.name. And this is useful in a lot of workflows where you need to derive information from the name of the file that contained the data. Since that's not the case here, we'll simply right-click and remove this column. So there we have it. That's how you use a sample file when connecting to a folder to control both the columns that are imported and the order in which they're imported. So let's close and apply. And now let's save our changes. And in the next video, we'll use this data in a quick practice session.